Well, time for me to get my guests into the show. Former Indian physiotherapist John Gloucester joins me. I'm also joined by Indian fans Amanda Hayden and Rasesh Mansukhani. Thank you very much for joining me on the broadcast this evening. Coming to you first, John, Virat Kohli playing an AB de Villiers-like shot. Did you expect that of him coming from the IPL?
Oh, look, I think we can expect anything from Virat these days. We've seen him play alongside AB for so long now. Something is going to rub off from AB onto him at some time. He's got the skill, but he's got the presence at the crease, so you can get into these positions to play these sorts of shots if you've got the ability to stay stable and stay strong like he does. And I think that's also part and parcel of the way he's prepared for these games, that not just mentally but physically, that you can play these sorts of shots and appear to have all the time in the world to do so. But firstly, it was fantastic just to see the crowds there. You know, we talk about, just down the road from Bronte and Bondi Beach, the blue sea there, but there was certainly a sea of blue at the SCG this evening, which was wonderful to see as well and have that noise back around the ground. We certainly missed it.
Did you manage to spot any yellow jersey in that crowd, John? Because I was, glued to the screen, but I couldn't find any.
No, there was very few actually. Look, there's so much passion around the Indian team, and I'm sure there's plenty of Australians there who are wearing a blue jersey as well, purely just to support the way that the Indian team plays these days. And look, everybody down under is a fan of cricket, whether you've got a blue jersey on or a yellow jersey on, it doesn't really matter. They're all there to see good quality cricket. And in the first two games, they're seeing good quality cricket, and that's what it's all about.
Naresh, would you say that crowds back in the stadium is now going to give another dose of energy to the Indian cricket team? Because we've seen in the beginning there were less crowds, but now with full houses, it's going to be a lot more energetic as the series progresses.
Absolutely, Rika. It makes a huge difference. The passion the crowd carries, especially following the Indian team, and the level at which India lifts the performance when there's a crowd backing. It would make a huge difference. And yeah, we look forward to the test series now.
Well, going back to you, John, would you say that, Hardik Pandya getting into the thick of things in the last over, he stroked those 2 sixes. It was also, the presence of the crowd that helped him get going because he was drawing energy from the presence of so many Indian cricket fans.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. Like I said, we've missed it. We tried to recreate that a little bit in the IPL with the AI crowds, and that helped a bit. But these guys are such good cricketers that you put them into any situation, whether there's a crowd there or not, they're still going to perform the way they've done. We saw them perform in the IPL without crowds, and that's going to continue going forward. So, we've got the test matches to look forward to now, and there'll be crowds there as well. But that's an entirely different format, and the other elements of fitness are going to play some very interesting games as we move forward into the test series as well.
Amanda, you are a Royal Challengers Bangalore fan and an Indian fan as well. At the back of the IPL, would you have expected Captain Virat Kohli of India to go the AB de Villiers way?
Yeah, I mean, having AB as a teammate for a very, very long time, it's bound to happen, Virat learning from AB learning from Virat. Honestly, never seen Virat play a shot like that, but it's definitely wonderful to see how much you can learn by playing with, so many different greats of the game.
John, today Australia lost. India sealed the series, but 6 of their first choice T20 players, Warner, Finch, Ashton Agar, Stark, Cummins and Hazelwood, were missing. Would you say that would have had a huge impact on the team? This is not the Australian T20 team that one would expect to be out in the park.
Yeah, again, you can't take those guys out and expect it not to have an effect. But that leaves opportunity for others, and I'm hoping the others look to embrace that as we move forward as well. But you can't take those guys out of that squad. But then we've got to look at the Indian team as well. They're missing two of probably the finest T20 short form players in the world at the moment. Jasprit Bumrah and Rohit Sharma weren't there, so you could use that argument across the board. But this is what the modern game's all about. There's going to be attrition with the types of preparations we've had or haven't had leading into these series. and the nature of the series back-to-back, there's going to be attrition. So we need to be prepared for that. Both sides need to be prepared for that. We've got to have backup players who can fill spots. And it was great to see the likes of Sanju Samson and some of these boys now coming to the fore and displaying enormous skill that we all know that they've got. But like I said, I think going into the Test series now, we're going to see a very different approach because fitness is going to have to come to the fore in the longer form of the game. And I'm a little concerned that maybe the majority of this squad, both squads, haven't had that preparation to get the endurance back under their belts. But it's all going to be wait and see. And there's going to be need for the bench strength for the Test series as well, trust me.
Interesting you say that. Do you think in the Test series we will see a more settled squad from both the teams? Aaron Finch, David Warner coming back, and India also having a more settled team?
Yeah, let's hope so, because performance and success comes from stability and continuity of selection. So I think that's why I'm saying we're going to have to manage the individuals within those teams very, very carefully so that we ensure that the minimum injuries, there's minimum injuries and therefore continuity or available of continuity of selection. It's when you have to change selection over and over.
Right. Well, Naresh, Shikhar telling Matthew Wade in this match that he wasn't fast enough because he did not manage to effect a stumping. Would you say these are the kind of moments that fans wait for in a series? There's been a lot of niceties. There's been a lot of exchange of pleasantries between the two teams. But now is the moment that, that adds spice and fans are looking forward to such moments.
Yeah. It adds spice, and obviously there's always a level of competitiveness. These are the small things. The no ball free hit opened up the gates, and the way India started batting after that. So these are the small things you get on with the skill as well as a little bit psychologically. So it's good. It's good for competitive cricket.
John, I'll have to talk to you about T. Natarajan. Well, he came into the team as a T20 bowler. He was drafted into the squad for the last ODI. And in the last T20s, in fact, when he was given the cap, he has performed phenomenally. Would you say that he has finally been able to make the leap from domestic cricket, from IPL cricket, to the international stage, and that has happened because, he has shaken off all nervousness in the IPL?
Yeah, look, just go back and look at his entire story. I think it's a wonderful story, and he's fought the odds all the way through, and he's a resilient character. And to perform at this level, you need resilience, and he's brought resilience with him through his life, and brought it to the fore at the pinnacle of cricket in the world, and he did it in the IPL, arguably the toughest competition in the world, and he's taken that confidence into this series here. So hats off to him. I think he's not young, which makes it even more impressive that he's battled his way through. But I see that if he can just keep fit, and he looks like he's got a good, strong action, that he should stay fit. Then we've got a banker here as well. And if you've got guys like him finishing the innings with the Jasprit Bumrah when he's in the side, that's an impressive outfit.
Also, today we saw a lot of slow balls and knuckle balls bowled by the Indian bowlers. John, would you say those are the skills that are being brought into the side by the Indian players from T20 cricket, particularly 3 months of IPL?
No doubt about it. And like we said, it's a learning environment. Everybody's learning off everybody else. One of the best bowlers of the knuckleball in the world is AJ Thai, who they would have all learned from over the years, and he's now playing against them in the Australian team. So these guys pick up on things very, very quickly. And like this form of the game, you adapt or perish. You've got to adapt. You've got to create new things. You've got to be thinking out of the box all the time. Otherwise, you get left behind pretty fast, and you get found out pretty fast. So the more and more this game matures, the more and more we're going to see our players mature and bring more tricks to the fore.
Naresh, while Hardik Pandya was finishing off the game, there was another guy who was at the other end, birthday boy Shreyash Iyer. He came in and he almost immediately had to get into action. Would you say it is, testament to the way he's played in the IPL, and finally, he's also coming good at the international level. He was not there in the first T20.
Yeah, and yes, that approach was really good. It was very refreshing to see the way he started off and he went on along with Hardik Pandya. And definitely the stint with Delhi Capitals to lead the team from the front, he's had some very good innings in the IPL. I think he's taken that confidence, and this particular inning will also really play a very important role going ahead for Shreyas Iyer.
Amanda, as a fan, would you have expected India to wrap up this series? Right now, they have won 2 matches. Would you expect it coming from the IPL, they would anyway beat Australia and win the T20 series?
Yeah, I mean, of course, as a fan, I'm going to back my team all the time. I do believe they can win. I do believe they have a wonderful squad. They might make a couple of changes in the 30-20, perhaps bring Mayank in, maybe Navdeep as well. But yeah, I mean, they're all top-class cricketers. They've proven themselves in the IPL, and definitely almost confident that they would go out there, do a good job, contribute, and steal the series and whitewash them.
John, coming back to you, everyone, including Jason Gillespie, who I interviewed yesterday, said that India will seal the T20 series, but come the test matches, it'll perhaps be 3-0 Australia. What do you have to say about that? We've seen the Indians prepare today. It was the first day of the warm-up tie.
Yeah, I don't think you'd ever predict a 3-0 scoreline against this squad and this attack. The only advantage Australia will have is that Virat Kohli is going home after the first test match. But, you know, there's some testing times for Australia in terms of their lineup as well. You know, there's going to be some new kids who are going to be blooded during this series. Will Pukowski, perhaps, Cameron Green, perhaps. Right. So there's difficulties for them at the top of the order, no doubt about it. India need to capitalise on that really early in the series and start, you know, setting the tone very, very early on. But coming back to Ajinkya, lovely to see him, such a wonderful human being and such an incredibly gifted cricketer, and a disappointing IPL for him, but he won't mind that because it's given him time to think about the longer form of the game, and he showed that today. You know, he scored nearly half the runs of the entire team, and to be 8 down, I think it stumps, and he's still there. That's impressive, and I saw a lot of that on TV today, and I was very impressed with the way he managed his offside play today, and normally with Ajinkya, when he's playing well through the offside, you know that he's in for a good series. So I really hope that the wickets stay good, because if they do, then guys like Ajinkya are going to flourish during this series. It's not going to be long before Pujara is going to be back up there as well, and a little blip at the top of the order with the 2 youngsters. But again, this is early days, and there's a few cobwebs to be blown out between now and the first test match. But I'm really excited about the test series going forward.
Amanda, Steve Smith said after the IPL that he didn't find his hands there. And we know Ajinkya Rahane, also another candidate for, red ball cricket, was far from impressive. As a fan, would you like to see Ajinkya come good on platforms like this, on occasions like this, test matches, more than IPL?
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, Ajinkya, he has been picked for the test squad specifically and been left out, unfortunately, for the ODI and the T20. So yeah, I'm definitely hoping that he goes out there and puts a good show on, because he has scored a century in this India-A match as well. He's a fantastic player, and I think, you know, after having that disappointing IPL, he'd want to come back. He'd want to come back, and he'd want to go out there, do his best, and take his team home.
Right. Let me remind our viewers that for the Indians, this was the first multi-day match since March. Naresh, coming back to you, would you say this is the perfect way for Ajinkya Rahane to captain for to audition for his test captaincy?
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's he's got it on the day 1 in Sydney, so so much of confidence he'll get, because it's already decided that Kohli will play only the first game and first test match, and then Rahane takes over. So I think that's going to add a lot of confidence to Rahane. He will go into the first test also, feeling good, and so will Pujara. He got a 50 plus, but yeah, Rahane and Pujara will be very, very critical in the test matches without Kohli.
John, Rahane got 100, Pujara got a 50. But do you think that in the test matches they can replicate these efforts? How different will the test matches actually be from these warm-up games? Although, you know, in the warm-up tie, we've seen some of the best featuring from India and from the Australia side as well.
Yeah, there's always a big step up once you hit the test arena. But but the expectation goes up, but also so do the performances, and that's what these guys thrive on.
Back to you, John. You know, there is a news that's doing the rounds about Cheteshwar Pujara. Sorry, there's a news doing the rounds about Cheteshwar Pujara and his stint in Yorkshire. Apparently, he faced racism. We still don't know. These are not verified information coming through, but we have read on social media. Would you say that racism still exists in modern day cricket?
Look, I think that's it's disappointing to know that that's come to the fore, and we just need, as everybody who's part of this game, to use this platform to ensure that it doesn't and it doesn't creep into the game. We need to take note of these of any allegation that comes to the fore around racism in our game, and we must work with it, and we've got to ensure that everybody has a voice, and that we have an ear to those voices. And we need to get on top of these very, very early. So, you know, I know that English cricket will be looking into this very, very closely. And should it come up anywhere in the world, we need to be taking very, very close note of this. But it's unfortunate that these incidents happen. But we all need to embrace the fact that we are part of this game, and we all need to believe that everybody has a place to play in this game. And I think it's a big responsibility for all of us to ensure that everybody is included and everybody is inclusive in our wonderful game.